Welcome back. You walk into the room. There are people, noise, movement, but then it happens. Her eyes find you, and they stay there. Not just a passing glance, not the casual scanning of the crowd, but something longer, something slower, something deliberate. She looks at you, holds it, looks away, and then, like a game of cat and mouse, she looks back. And in that moment, if you are the kind of man ruled by impulse, you'll feel the stir. You'll want to move, to react, to do something. But the Stoic man doesn't chase the wind. He watches it blow and remains unmoved. Because here's the truth. A woman's lingering gaze isn't just curiosity. It's a test, not a conscious one, but a primal one. She's checking. Do you chase validation or do you embody value? When a woman holds eye contact longer than usual, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, maybe more, it's not random. Especially if her pupils dilate or if she looks away, then returns. That's not coincidence. That's unconscious attraction. That's nature using her eyes to speak what her words won't. Psychologically, a lingering gaze triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It's one of the most intimate, wordless ways a woman expresses interest. But here's where most men fail. They respond with hunger. They assume too much. They act too soon. But Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The true Stoic man does not get pulled into emotional waters by every wave of attention. He sees the signal, but he doesn't lose his center. He doesn't react. He responds with presence, not performance. So what do? You don't look away awkwardly. You don't rush to approach her. You don't smirk like you've just won something. You simply see her. You meet her gaze. You acknowledge it with calm, grounded energy. Maybe a slight smile, nothing performative, nothing needy. And then you move on, not because you're disinterested, but because you're not dependent. She will feel it. Because women, especially those who are used to men being captivated, will notice when you don't fall in line, when you don't shift or stumble. When you stay still and centered, they start wondering, what's different about him? Why isn't he reacting the way others do? That is when attraction deepens, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't do, Epictetus taught. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So decide right now. Will you be the man who reacts or the man who observes? Will you let every gaze pull you off balance, or will you remain the mountain she can't move? Here's what you need to remember. If she's holding eye contact, especially during a group setting, or a moment when you're not directly interacting, that's a silent pull. But one gaze isn't confirmation. It's an invitation, not to jump in, but to remain curious and composed. For example, if she looks at you across the room and holds it, just return it briefly. Smile if it feels right. Then shift your attention elsewhere. No rush, no urgency, no assumptions. That moment of stillness, of grounded restraint, makes her feel something most men never deliver. Tension, mystery, and above all, presence without performance. If she keeps looking, it's no longer just curiosity, it's intrigue. And your refusal to perform makes you unforgettable. Because here's what no one tells you. The most attractive men aren't the ones who chase attention. They're the ones who can receive it without needing it. Seneca once said, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." So in the presence of her gaze, don't let your mind race. Let your breath slow. Let your body relax. Let your eyes speak clarity. And walk away, if you must, with the confidence of a man who knows. If she's interested, she will make it known again. If not, your value is still intact. This is what it means to live with inner wealth. You do not need to be chosen to know that you are worthy. So remember, the Stoic doesn't chase the wind. He lets it come to him if it dares. And when it does, he remains unmoved because he is already whole. Number 1. when she moves closer and you stay unshaken. There's a quiet moment in every room, a shift, a change in distance, not in words, not in intention, but in proximity. You're speaking with someone, maybe not even her, but somehow she ends up near you, closer than expected, within arm's length, within breath's reach. The kind of closeness that feels casual but calculated. She chooses the seat beside you, even when the rest of the row is empty. She leans in when she doesn't need to. She brushes against you with the back of her hand and smiles like it didn't happen. But you know better, because when a woman is drawn to you, she doesn't always say it with words. She says it with space, or rather, by crossing into yours. According to proxemics, the psychology of personal space, when someone moves within the 18-inch to 4-foot range, it means one thing: comfort, interest, and sometimes desire. But here's the question. When she closes the space between you, what do you do? If you're like most men, your heartbeat spikes. You lean in too. You respond too quickly. You start playing her game without realizing you've already lost it. But if you are a Stoic man, rooted, steady, you see it for what it is. A signal, not a command. An invitation, not a demand. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And so the Stoic does not get carried away by the idea of what her closeness might mean. He does not build castles in his mind. He remains where he is, still, present, aware. He notices her movement, the way her foot touches his, the way her shoulder lingers near his arm, and instead of reacting, he observes. He does not pull away, but he also does not lean in, because the moment you lean in, the dynamic shifts. You confirm that you are seeking her closeness. You declare without words that her move succeeded. But a Stoic man, he lets her draw near and then he holds. He continues speaking if he chooses to. He continues listening if it serves his purpose. But he never lets her presence become the center of his gravity. This is where power lies, in letting her feel the closeness without needing to escalate it. Because women feel safety in a man who doesn't rush. They feel mystery in a man who doesn't react. And they feel respect for a man who doesn't let their proximity define his worth. If she's moving closer to you, whether at work, at a bar, or during conversation, it means she's comfortable in your presence. She may be testing the energy, the response, or her own courage. But it's her move, not yours. And that's where most men make a mistake. They misinterpret her nearness as a call for instant attention. They abandon their presence, their frame, their intention, just to respond. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are calm, collected, and grounded, you remain untouchable. If they're chaotic, impulsive, or need validation, you'll always chase. So what should you do? Let her closeness be what it is, a test of your internal strength. Let her reach your space, but not your peace. Let her physical proximity be met with emotional independence. Here's a simple example. You're sitting with friends. She arrives late and sits right next to you, even though other seats are open. Don't comment, don't joke about it, don't assume. Just acknowledge her presence with a calm nod or a polite, "Hey," then go back to your conversation. Why? Because it tells her something powerful. You noticed, but you didn't shift. You felt her presence, but you didn't orbit around it. That makes her curious. That makes her ask, why isn't he leaning in? Why does he feel so unshaken? That's when the tables turn. Because the closer she gets, the more obvious your emotional center becomes. If she can't shake it, she respects it. If she can't pull you in, she leans in harder. And suddenly, without saying a word, she starts to feel the gravitational pull. Not because you tried, but because you didn't. Remember, the Stoic man doesn't compete for closeness. He lets it come to him. And when it does, he honors it without becoming defined by it. Because true power is not in controlling others, but in not being controlled. So the next time she stands a little too close or laughs a little too near, don't chase, don't assume, observe, and let her curiosity deepen in the silence of your composure. Number 2, when she touches you first and you don't flinch. It's subtle, intentional, but disguised in laughter, disguised in motion, disguised in what most would call accidental. She touches your arm during a joke. She brushes her fingers along your back as she passes. She places her hand on your chest for a moment too long, then takes it back like it never happened. And the untrained man flinches, not with his body, but with his emotions. He lights up. He overreads. He smiles too much. He reacts like a thirsty wanderer who just found water in the desert. But not you. You are not the kind of man who gets touched and then becomes emotional property. You are the Stoic man, and you understand this. A woman's touch is not just physical, it's psychological. It's a signal, it's a test. It's a way to explore your boundaries without ever needing to say a word. Here's the truth that most men ignore. A woman's touch doesn't mean she's yours. It means she's watching how you'll react. She wants to know if you're easily swayed, if the surface of your masculinity can be disturbed with just one soft push. And when you fail the test, it's not because you didn't respond fast enough. It's because you responded too emotionally. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his senses." When she touches you, what she's really asking is, are you a slave to the moment? Will you crumble under attention? That's why the Stoic man does something rare. He doesn't ignore her, but he doesn't feed her control either. He receives the touch and continues with his calm. He looks at her, not surprised, not shocked, just present, and sometimes he simply returns a small nod or smile. Nothing more. Because his value doesn't increase because she touched him. And his mission doesn't pause because someone finds him desirable. You see, women don't fall for men who react like they've won a prize. They fall for the men who already saw themselves as the prize. Here's a simple example. You're in a conversation. She laughs and places her hand on your thigh for just a second. A man ruled by impulse will lean in, turn the conversation flirty, and mirror the touch. But you continue the conversation with composure. You don't retreat. You don't escalate. You let her know through your calm that you noticed, but you are not conquered. This is magnetic. This is what makes her lean forward emotionally, because she realizes something. Her tactics, her touch, her cues, they don't dictate your behavior. Your world is not so easily tilted. The moment you can accept a touch without giving up your emotional center, you become untouchable in the way that matters most. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Her touch is an outside event. Your reaction, that's your power. And what's fascinating is that when you remain composed, she doesn't pull back. She leans in. Because now she knows she's not dealing with a boy chasing validation. She's facing a man with presence, a man who can receive affection without losing form, a man who can enjoy connection without becoming dependent on it. This is rare, and women know it. That's why subtle touch is often the most dangerous form of attraction, because it invites you to abandon your stillness. But the Stoic man never bargains his stillness for a brief sensation. So how should you respond when she touches you again? Smile, breathe, and let the moment pass through you like wind through a canyon. Don't speak too quickly. Don't shift your posture to match hers. Don't play her game. Instead, stay in yours. Let her reach for your energy and realize that she cannot shake it, because a man who does not flinch becomes the man she cannot forget. Her touch is not an achievement. It is a reflection of your gravity. And gravity doesn't move, it pulls. So when she laughs and places her hand on your shoulder, don't lean in. Let her lean into you, because real strength isn't in pushing forward, it's in standing still and letting the world come to you. Number 3, when her voice softens, but you stay grounded. There's something primal about a change in tone. It's not loud, it's not grand, but it's magnetic. One moment she's speaking like everyone else. The next, her voice dips just slightly into something slower, softer, smoother. She doesn't shout to get your attention. She whispers, so you lean in. But the Stoic man does not lean in. He listens without losing posture, because he knows when her voice changes, something inside her has already shifted. And if you're not careful, so will something inside you. This is how it begins. In the middle of a group, she speaks to you just a bit differently. Her words curve, not cut. Her rhythm slows not for drama, but intimacy, as if every syllable was designed to build a world just for two. She's drawing a circle around you, inviting you in emotionally, psychologically, not to talk, but to connect, to test. Will you follow her rhythm or keep your own? Here's what most men miss. A woman's shift in tone is not a random act. It's a dance of closeness. It's subconscious seduction. It's control without command. The unaware man takes it as a green light. He mirrors the softness, lowers his voice too, and slips into emotional compliance. He starts performing for her tone. He becomes clay. But the Stoic man is stone. He observes the shift. He hears the melody, but he doesn't rush to sing along. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. But if not, then I will go on doing what I do." You see, even in intimacy, a Stoic man seeks truth, not approval. So when her voice softens, he doesn't mold himself to her vibe, he stays in alignment with his. Because attraction is not about echoing her energy. It's about offering a grounded presence she can lean into. A woman doesn't soften her voice to find a boy who softens with her. She does it to discover if you can hold space for both of you. She does it to see if you melt or remain magnetic. Here's the truth behind the whisper. It's an invitation, not a command. It's a doorway, but not a path you have to walk. In practice, this looks simple. When she lowers her voice during a private conversation, you don't lean forward and whisper back like a teenager on a date. You maintain your pace. You let silence sit between her words. You answer calmly, clearly, and slowly without chasing her softness. Because if your masculinity dissolves in the warmth of her tone, you were never grounded in the first place. There's a story told in Stoic circles about Cato the Younger. He was once approached by a seductive woman of high status. She spoke slowly, dressed in silk, and tried to allure him with soft tone and promises. But Cato simply looked at her and said, "I govern myself." Those 3 words were power. She left. Because some men are so rooted, no tone can uproot them. And that's what women secretly crave. Not a man who mirrors her shifts, but a man who remains centered no matter how close she leans. So what do you do when her voice softens? You pause. You breathe. You reply with the same grounded tone you'd use with anyone else. You give her the gift of your calm, not your surrender, because your presence should not be reactive. It should be consistent, like a mountain in the wind, unmoved. This is what builds mystery. This is what creates gravity. This is what makes her want to whisper again and again, not because you're trying to be closer, but because she feels safest near your stillness. Never forget, when a woman changes her voice, she's not just being cute, she's searching for depth, and only the man who doesn't melt becomes the one she can fall into. Number 4. When she teases you, but you don't take the bait. It starts with a smirk, not a hostile one, but playful. A comment about your haircut, a jab at your music taste, a mock challenge. "Oh, really? You think you're that strong?" And most men, especially the ones craving approval bite, they laugh nervously. They defend themselves. They try to win the tease, or worse, turn it into a moment of validation. But you don't, because you're not here to prove yourself. You're here to observe. A woman's teasing, especially when playful, direct, and emotionally charged, is not just banter. It's a test. It's her subconscious attempt to measure your emotional weight, to find the edges of your composure, to see if you wobble when poked. And here's where Stoic wisdom slices through confusion. You never owe anyone a reaction. When Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," he wasn't talking about war or storms. He was talking about moments like this. Small, subtle provocations designed to tug your ego, to see if you flinch. Playful teasing is emotional chess. And the moment you take it personally, the moment you try to explain, justify, or outwit, you've lost. Because now your behavior isn't coming from presence. It's coming from insecurity. But if you want to flip the dynamic, if you want to become the gravity in the room, here's what you do. You smile. You hold your posture. You say nothing, or you respond with a calm, disarming confidence. Not sarcasm, not defense. Just masculine ease. Example, she says, "You really think you're mysterious, huh?" You respond, "I prefer the word undecoded." Then you hold her gaze, not to intimidate, but to anchor the space, and shift the attention back to her. "Anyway, what about you? Do you like attention, or does it just follow you?" That's presence. That's mastery. See, when you tease her back, but with poise, not panic, you signal that you're not reacting from ego, but choosing to dance. And that's when teasing becomes connection. A playful woman is not trying to break you. She's trying to feel you, to test if what you project on the outside matches the core underneath. The fragile man collapses. The reactive man attacks. The stoic man, he smiles and remains undisturbed, because he doesn't need to prove he's strong. He is strong precisely because he doesn't overreact. Remember this: be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Marcus Aurelius. You don't scold her. You don't retreat. You simply remain rooted. And here's what happens when you respond that way. She starts to wonder. She begins to shift. Her playful energy turns from testing to respect. Because you've shown her you're unshakable, not cold, not indifferent, just centered. And in a world full of men who chase emotional highs and fall apart at emotional pokes, the one who responds with subtle strength becomes unforgettable. Don't misinterpret her teasing as disrespect. See it as curiosity, an invitation, but only if you can meet it with calm charisma, not ego reflex. Because a man who can laugh at himself but never lose himself is a man a woman can't help but admire. So next time she playfully challenges, you don't compete, don't collapse, don't chase. Just meet her eyes, smile with the silence of a man who knows who he is, and let your presence do what no defense ever could. Make her feel safe in your strength. Number 5. When she starts to mirror you and you do nothing. It's one of the quietest signs. She crosses her legs right after you do. She sips her drink when you do. She laughs in a rhythm that echoes your tone. And when you lean in, she follows. When you lean back, she mirrors. She may not even realize it, but you should. Because this is not coincidence. This is neuropsychology at work. This is attraction unfolding beneath awareness. It's called the mirror effect, and it reveals far more than compliments or flirtation. When a woman starts mimicking your body language, your pacing, or your emotional vibe, she's aligning herself with you on a deep, subconscious level. You've stopped being just another man in the room. You've become a frequency, and her nervous system has started to sync. Here's the part most men miss. They get excited, they get cocky, they try to use it. But a Stoic man doesn't exploit signs. He honors them by staying grounded. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. When you notice her mirroring you, that's your test. Not a reward to indulge in, but a moment to remain unshaken. Don't point it out. Don't try to escalate. Don't break the flow by turning it into strategy. Instead, remain in rhythm with yourself, because that's what drew her in to begin with. You weren't performing. You weren't pushing. You were centered, calm, and self-possessed. And now, because you didn't need anything, she feels safe syncing with you." Mirroring is nature's way of saying, "We're in resonance." But if you break your tempo to chase hers, the harmony is lost. So what do? You keep your pace. You remain the steady flame. Let her energy adjust to yours, not the other way around. This is especially powerful in group settings. Watch how she mirrors only you, even when others are speaking. Watch how she sits the way you sit. Watch how she uses words or jokes that match your style. These are the signs of psychological alignment, and alignment always precedes attraction. Here's a simple but potent example. You're sitting across from her. You lean forward slightly, resting one arm on the table. Minutes later, she does the same. You pause between sentences, she begins doing it too. Now don't rush to seduce. Don't feel victorious. Instead, go even deeper into presence. Ask a question. Let silence hang. Watch how her body remains tuned to yours. This is where your power multiplies, not through action, but non-reaction. As Marcus Aurelius taught, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. Her mirroring is not a cue to do more. It's a validation of what you're already being. A man in command of his frame. A man unaffected by fleeting attention. A man so deeply rooted in his essence that the world starts adjusting to him. That's real attraction. Not because you chased it, but because you became something that doesn't chase. And here's the deeper truth. When she mirrors you, she's not just reflecting your movements. She's echoing the emotional world you've created. If you're calm, she finds calm. If you're humorous, she becomes playful. If you're serious, she matches gravity. You are setting the emotional tone without ever saying it. That's why the mirror effect is sacred. It's not a trick. It's not manipulation. It's a signal that you've built an inner world worth entering. So next time she mirrors, you don't get excited. Don't flinch. Don't perform. Just be. Let her continue aligning with your quiet rhythm. And know that the more you remain in your own tempo, the more she'll feel the magnetic pull, not of your charm, but of your stillness. Because nothing commands the feminine heart more than the masculine presence she can't shake. Now, you don't have to yell to be heard. You don't have to chase to be valued. You don't have to play her games to prove you're worth loving. You just have to stand quietly, calmly, like a mountain in a storm. And as she reaches for drama, you choose peace. As she reaches for control, you choose stillness. As she reaches for attention, you choose purpose. This is the power of a man who doesn't need to convince anyone of his value because he lives it. So let your silence say what words never could. Let your distance teach what your presence once gave too freely. Let your self-respect become the mirror she cannot look away from, not to punish her, but to protect the most sacred thing you possess, your inner world. If this message spoke to your soul, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a brother who needs it. This is Stoic Love. And you're just getting started.